today's presentation, we will be looking at the question of how the management of human resources differs from small and medium-sized firms all the way up to large-scale firms. In today's presentation, we will be focusing on the 6 main topics: informality, family ownership, social relations, gender, business growth, and job creation. These topics will try to get us to better understand how small and medium-sized firms may differ in the management of human resources compared to large-scale firms. Probably the first thing you may imagine when thinking about small-scale firms or businesses is something similar to a corner shop. Now, while that doesn't exactly paint the whole picture for small businesses, it does serve as a fairly good example. What is really the focus of informality, and how can that change depending on a firm's size? Well, informality can be depicted as this exclusion of social constraints. Now, informality can be beneficial. It can allow for informal recruitment through word of mouth, for example. This allows people to get jobs with family and friends and work in a more comforting environment. This can also benefit the firm as it opens opportunities for less restrictive behavior, such as lower hourly wage or more managerial stability and discipline, as emphasized by Holiday and Ram. Employees often seek out these forms of workplace culture as they value aspects of familyness and can promote further effectiveness, as said by Mondoram, than traditional human resource methods that are adopted by the larger firms. However, informality can also carry a strain for firms, such as certain practices that may be acceptable for smaller firms may not carry over to larger firms, and they may be deemed inappropriate or unprofessional. Human resources cannot be seen as incompetent when dealing with the number of employees seen in larger firms, as emphasized by Mondoram. Therefore, we usually see larger firms stray from informality in the workplace and opt for more structural and concise forms of workplace culture. This is also due to the possibility of conflict of opinions that can arise with larger management teams. For example, a worker may call off due to a personal emergency. Now, while some managements will happily respect this, what usually happens with larger firms is they may sort out a more formal approach where they may need certain things to be done, certain procedures to be followed in order for that time off to be allowed and for there to be no repercussions.
Thanks, Ali. And I guess to build on that, the family-based orientation of many small and medium-sized enterprises creates a unique internal dynamic that impacts the effectiveness of HR management. Now, on the surface or from the outside looking in, you would think that that's a good thing. It promotes an environment that's comfortable, that's respectful, that's lenient, and the term happy family or family firm gets thrown around by a study by Holiday and Leatherby to describe the organizational culture of these SMEs. But is that always the case? No. In reality, a lot of employees from those firms feel trapped, be that due to the pressure to work overtime or even the pressure to stay with the firm indefinitely. And perhaps worst of all, a lot of them felt in that study that their skill growth was becoming restricted due to people within the firm not wanting them to take those skills elsewhere. Now, does that sound like a healthy working environment? I would argue it doesn't. And the research by Holiday and Ram adds to the challenges of HR management within family-oriented firms. For example, the limits placed on the managers, because if you feel compelled to promote from within because it's family, it's blood relations, then you may be promoting people that aren't cut out for that managerial role. But look, in larger firms, does the person with the perfect skill set always get the promotion? No. It's no secret that social capital and building relations with the right people has a significant advantage. But when it comes to blood relations in family firms, it's not even a choice. And that can reduce the effectiveness of management, it can reduce the performance of the organisation, and constrain relationships even further. I'd now like to pass you over to Yang, who will build on that point and talk about the social relations that affect human resource management.
In terms of social relations, firstly, according to Holiday and Leatherby in 1993, in a large company, there are no great restrictions on leaving the company, but in a small or medium-sized family business, you will feel obliged to stay on and help your family. which means that you don't really have a choice in career you pursue. And especially for newcomers, they struggle to break into circle and scared to put a foot wrong. Their passage has not been earned through working long hours in the early stages. Similarly, as emphasized by Holiday and Rain in 1993, new employees who want to survive must adapt to existing social relationships at work in small and medium-sized enterprises. In addition, Elvesson has stressed in 1995 that a business such as Vetco would encourage these processes by fostering a feminist spirit rather than through existing professionalism or egalitarianism. This description of providing social relationships for employees promotes positive relationships between employees.
Now let's talk about gender. So women get exploited in both male and female dominated companies, and according to the free market logic, women's absence from most mainstream business activities can be explained in the inadequacy of their labor power. Let's look at how SMEs and large-scale enterprises differentiate from each other when it comes to certain gender roles. In many SMEs, especially those that are family-owned or closely held, traditional gender roles may have a strong influence. SMEs may also lack formalized human resource policies and procedures related to gender equality. Due to the smaller and often more informal nature of SMEs, decisions related to promotions, job assignments, and compensation might be made through informal channels, potentially leading to a gender bias. Women are supervisors rather than managers in a family-owned business, and they always carry out more work and more duties than what they're paid for. Now let's look at the large-scale enterprises. Large-scale enterprises tend to have more comprehensive and formalized HR policies addressing gender equalities, which may include anti-discrimination policies, diversity and inclusion initiatives, and gender-neutral hiring and promotion criteria. This decision-making process relating to hiring and promotions and performance evaluations are often more structured and objective, reducing the likelihood of gender biases influencing outcomes. Larger organizations are often more attuned to legal requirements regarding gender equality in a workplace. They are more likely to comply with the labor laws and regulations aimed at preventing gender bias discrimination.
So, the idea of a shared corporate culture serves as the basis for the likeness argument, which is derived from the process of starting, running, and maintaining a family firm. This pertains specifically to the management of the company in terms of leadership, succession, and risk avoidance in the context of business expansion, as well as reliance on family labor and the cultivation and utilization of social capital, as stated by Besiven, or as mentioned by Ronald Stewart Burt, but a term regarding to as structural holds. The arrangement consists mainly of strategically chosen networks of acquaintances that can support the achievement of commercial objectives. Business growth in small or medium-sized family enterprises differs significantly from that in large-scale enterprises due to several factors. The first being decision-making process, the next management style and culture, as well as access to resources, and finally risk tolerance. While large enterprises benefit from greater resources, formal structures, and a broader reach, small or medium-sized family businesses offer quick decision-making, a strong sense of tradition and values, and closer customer relationships. Both have their unique strengths and challenges in the context of business growth. So what exactly could be the downside of this? Well, on the other hand, maintaining a family culture during growth can be seen as difficult, as working in a small or medium-sized family enterprise can cause internal problems, where Holiday and Leatherby states that one can be friendly at one point and the next can be stern.
Now we'll move on and talk about job creation. Small and medium-sized companies, or SMEs for short, are responsible for more than 2/3 of jobs created worldwide, and they account for the majority of new job creation. Small and medium-sized companies tend to not have a lot of employees, as they would employ as much as 250 employees and as low as around 10 employees, whereas large companies would have a lot more, in the millions, 100,000s, which small employees just cannot compete with. Data collected from research shows that 70% of employment worldwide comes from small and medium-sized companies. This data is found from the International Labour Organization. And looking over this data and understanding all these facts, it shows us that small and medium-sized companies have huge social and economic growth worldwide. Small and medium-sized companies are also more market-driven and respond quicker to opportunities compared to large companies, as it is easier to shift things in the company compared to big ones. And in high periods of unemployment, medium and small-sized companies tend to create more job opportunities. Small and medium-sized companies suffer from a skill shortage in both managerial and workforce level. So the lack of resources and knowledge tend to be the reason why they create more jobs compared to large companies, as they cannot be as picky as they want to be with employing new workers to their workforce as large companies are. Also, this lack of knowledge and resources causes them to not invest a lot in workforce training.
To conclude, it is clear that the management of human resources in large-scale firms differs significantly to the management of human resources in small to medium-sized firms. In simple terms, this can be boiled down to the unique nature of small to medium-sized firms, as we can see an informality in the recruitment process and an informality in their employer relationship. You see, the benefits of family ownership while promoting efficiency and a more friendly community also come with their potential drawbacks, as a lot of the time newcomers experience high workloads and are overburdened, while core members have very flexible working times. This isn't the case with large-scale firms, as large-scale firms pride themselves on structured and formalized procedures, which may be the reason for large-scale firms experiencing more growth. On the other hand, you also have large-scale companies putting a higher priority on formalized HR policies that direct their decision-making towards issues such as gender equality. As you can see, small to medium-sized firms and large-scale firms differ significantly. So it is crucial to be able to navigate these differences, to be able to successfully manage human resources tailored to the specific dynamics of each of the type of business. Thank you very much.